Fruitville is about a young man in the Bay Area. It took place in 2008. And it's New Year's Eve, and we kind of watch him go through his day, bumping up against family, friends, strangers, and some enemies as well. And it's all en route to a pretty tragic incident that happens, in the wee hours of New Year's Day. And it's based on the true story of Oscar Grant, who was shot while he was unarmed at the Fruitville BART station on New Year's Eve in 2009. The video footage was available online, so it was available on YouTube and on news reports, and I watched it. And I mean, the footage was on cell phone cameras from 2008, so it was kind of grainy. So all you could kind of make out is that he was a young black dude, wearing the kind of clothes that we all wore. So it was kind of like watching something happen to yourself, or to your friends, or to your brother that you know. And it was something horrific. So it terrified me, angered me.
This is a Silk exclusive.
Welcome to another episode of Words, Music, Dance. I'm your host as always, Paulie the Bull. No relation to Gravano, ever. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple fellas with me today. We're going to talk about some things as we always do. So shout out to everybody listening. Shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody who's hit me up about some merchandise and things. Got some more up there and a little back order on a couple of things. But hey, keep clicking the buttons and I'll get y'all, what I can when I can. You know what I mean? Fellas, what's happening? Happy March. We in the middle of March, you know what I'm saying? Time going kind of fast. I don't know if y'all feel the same way about it, but
Always does, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, February don't count. That's just like a week long. So
True. But I mean, the biggest thing that's happening in this month of March is us New Yorkers, New York City folk. You know what I'm saying? The mayor came in. The mayor with swagger. I guess we gotta let people know because they confuse him with other mayors that don't have swagger. But our mayor has swagger. And
I went on the corner.
and he I guess is removing slowly the mandates. Mask mandate now is optional in certain locations and places. It's not. It's the buses, the trains, you still gotta wear them. You still gotta have a mask. But most restaurants and places are saying, we suggest it, but they can't mandate, they can't force it no more.
And the key to the city shit is suspended.
Right. So the key to the city, the Excelsior Pass and all that stuff, they can't, anywhere you go, movie, museums, all them places, they can't check your vaccination status no more. So them days is gone. But let's talk about the Barclays Arena, because Kyrie Irving was the story for that pass. What was that, September, when they first initiated it? And the whole thing was about, the NBA, PA, for those that don't know, they said, okay, yeah, we're not going to force our players to do so. However, the cities that had it mandated overruled that. So it was San Francisco, the Golden State Warriors, and it was New York City, the Brooklyn Nets, and the New York Knicks. And what was it? Was Andrew Wiggins in the Warriors? That wasn't.
Yeah, but he got vaccinated.
But he did. At first, he wasn't.
But Toronto as well.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Canada was like, get it, or we arresting y'all. Like Canada was on a whole other level. They was on something else. But Wiggins was fighting it, and he was like, all right, you know what? I'll get it. And he's having a pretty good year this year too. So
having an
all-star.
Right. Kyrie, on the other hand, said, nah, I ain't doing it. So if I can't play at home, then so be it. And we could talk about Stephen A. a little bit, but I'll let Jared probably go into that. That's his man too.
I wonder if that was a trade-off for Wiggins, though. Listen, get the shot. We got your all-star.
Yeah, that could be. But so Kyrie was the story all season. He couldn't play at home. He could play on the road, but at first the team said, well, did we not let him play at all? Then all of a sudden, injuries started happening, and they was like,
nah.
I mean,
we was playing.
How you feeling,
joking, bro?
Road games.
Yeah, road games. Come on through, roll with us. You know what I'm saying? Then, like I said, as of today, Eric Adams lifted the ban, but then the rules got a little funny. Because we trust in the science. We've been talking about that for last couple months, well, a couple years, I should say. But the rules for Kyrie specifically, the Barclays and Kyrie specifically was he still can't play in the arena. However, now because the mandate for visitors has been lifted, he can sit courtside and watch. You know what I mean? He can enjoy the
He'll be a
game
spectator.
like the rest of us as a fan. He just can't get on the court and play as a player in the
Right.
because the science.
Well, it's not even because of the science. It's because as far as on paper, this is what it is. The reason is because the private sector mandate hasn't been lifted. So people that are at work in indoors for private companies in New York still have to be vaccinated. So if you work in Dunkin' Donuts inside, you need to be vaccinated. If you're working in an office, you need to be vaccinated. If you work in, all these people still need to be vaccinated. So Kyrie is an employee of a private business that's based in New York City. And so
however,
come to
I
work.
reiterate that the NBA PA never had a mandate because they voted against it.
Right, but they also said that they're gonna abide by the cities of of what
Which the city lifted the
people play.
mandate.
They didn't lift the private sector mandate though. So I'm saying there still is a mandate that he's covered under. That's why he can't play. Now the whole mandate in total is retarded. But as far as letter of the law, that's why he's not being allowed to play. And Eric Adams, his take is, well, if I let him play, I can't just like bend the rules for him and then tell the rest of the city that when you go to work indoors you have to be vaccinated, but he doesn't have to be vaccinated when he goes to work. So that's what Eric Adams is. That's his shield. It's like he's like, yo, like I can't let him do it just for some basketball, and I can't, So
but then the trick comes in too. But check this out. He can go play when they play against the Knicks.
No, you can't.
No, he can't.
No, you can't.
He can.
Yes, he can.
They said he can.
Yes, he can. Under the
He's
current
allowed to
rules,
play.
yes, he can.
Yes, he can play.
Under the current rules, yes, he can.
Yeah.
No, he can't.
He couldn't
How
before.
can he play there?
Exactly my. But go on. Keep going.
Who said he can play there?
He can't play there.
Rules.
Even though it's a away game, he still
That was
works
the old
in New
rule.
York.
That was the old rule.
He can
It
play.
changed. He can now do that.
Yes. Because like I said, they never vote. The league never had that private sector mandate. It was just the city.
So the private sector mandate is a New York City mandate. That's like
Right,
strictly
but
specific to
it was overwritten by when the NBA PA voted against that. So they were only going by the vaccination rules for the venue, but it wasn't private. It wasn't the private sector part of it. So he can play. He can play because even then,
Well, the private sector part was always a mandate as well, as far as in general. I'm saying, like, I'm not referring to what the NBA, the Players Association, say. You know what I'm saying? Like that was always running concurrently with the key to NYC thing to begin with. So like remember,
but
it's spectators who
they're not private.
the NBA. Well, Kyrie Irving don't work for the NBA. He works for the Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
Are they private?
Yes. Can you buy stock in the Brooklyn Nets?
No, you can't.
No.
Isn't it a parent company though?
Like nah.
Joe
Yes.
Tsai's parent company
They're not
owns them.
publicly
Though.
traded. Huh?
His parent company owns them. Not him
Who
individually.
owns
His
them?
company is the owner of them.
And his company is not a private company?
No, you can buy stocks in it.
Yeah, you could buy.
Alibaba.
What is it? It's what's the name of it?
Alibaba.
Alibaba. Yeah, Alibaba. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this. There's people out there smarter than us. If his business is not private, then the Nets will be suing these niggas, talking about why my nigga can't play. If he's that simple. Like
Well,
if it was that simple, because if it was that simple, like, look, these niggas can buy Alibaba stock, then they'd be like, nah, either he can play or we suing the city of New York. We got to play a run to make. Like,
and that's
I don't know about that.
why KD at the press game had that sentiment.
What was the feeling when Kyrie comes into the building and sits courtside, walks with you guys into the locker room, but obviously can't take 2 steps onto the floor and play?
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand it at all. I mean, it's a few people in our arena that's unvaxxed, right? Like, they lifted all of that in our arena, right? So I don't get it.
It's a second mandate that says he can come in but can't play.
Yeah, I don't get it. It just feels like at this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point to flex their authority. But, everybody out here looking for attention, and that's what I feel like the mayor wants right now, some attention, But he'll figure it out soon. He better. But it just didn't make any sense. Like, there's unvaxxed people in this building already. We got a guy who can come into the building. I guess, are they fearing our safety? I don't get it. So, yeah, we're all confused. Pretty much everybody in the world is confused at this point. Early on in the season, people didn't understand what was going on, but now it just looks stupid. So hopefully, Eric, you got to figure this out.
You got to talk to him at the end of the game there. Where you guys, is that like a good to see you, or does he talk to you about the game? Did he say like a good game, or was?
I mean, I seen him yesterday. So it's just for y'all. I mean, the fans and the first time seeing him in here, I guess it's something different. But we see him every day in practice. He can come to the practice facility, so he could travel on the road. But
and following up on the Kyrie stuff, what is it like playing and looking over and seeing him right there?
Yeah, I was at the free throw line, I think, when he walked in, and me and Drum looked at each other and was like, yo, this is unreal. Like, I've never seen nothing like this before. And we just smiled. And I mean, been like, we can say that about a lot of situations over these last 2 or 3 years where things just didn't make any sense, especially with COVID being involved. So hopefully it gets figured out. Like I said, Eric, you gotta figure something out, man, because it's looking crazy, especially on national TV, and he can come to the game but not play. Like, come on, man. Hey, yo, Eric.
And second, I mean, just if the mandate stays in place, Kyrie's only going to be able to play in 4 of the last 14 games, which means it's going to be a heavier load on you. Do you look at it that way? And are you ready to, I guess, shoulder that load for the rest of the season?
What's the last question? Let me die out there, man. I told you.
It doesn't make it. The mandate in general, it makes 0 sense. So you're saying thousands of unvaccinated people. For one, the mandate makes no sense because proximity to people that are unvaccinated doesn't do anything to you.
Right.
So if you get COVID from people who have COVID, not people who are not vaccinated against COVID. So just like there's no I'm gonna get the you not vaccinated disease. There's no such thing as that. So that in general, keeping us away from each other because our vaccination status is different doesn't make any there's no scientific sense to begin with. But whatever, they did that. But so you're saying that all these unvaccinated people, they can gather in this huge arena, sit next to each other, bump each other, high five each other when KD make a 3. They can do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyrie, who's only going to be in proximity to about 9 other guys at a time,
Mm-hmm.
He can't play though. We can't let him by. He can't let him close to his players because it's a safety risk. Like that makes no sense. And then this whole time, people that were unvaccinated that didn't play for Brooklyn, they can bring their unvaccinated selves into Barclays Center, endangering people.
Right. Which is why, again, I say the private sector rule was throughout. And people were still allowed to travel, fly, play, and stuff. So it's confusing. The private sector rule would only apply to people who are employees of that city, so they can't apply it to people who come in to the thing. But it's all dumb to begin with. Right. Like it's dumb. So when Katie says what he says, it's like, how are you? I get it, and
And it is really confusing because it doesn't make any sense and no one is trying to make any sense out of it. It's like people know it doesn't make sense, but they're like, look, I'm gonna just say I can't do it because if I do it for him, I gotta do it for everybody. He's like, I can hide behind that and it's ironclad. Nobody can say that.
And then it just got better today, right before we were recording. The Brooklyn Nets recently beat the New York Knicks. Sorry, Lou. Sorry, Rel. You guys both are Knicks fans.
Oh, it was yesterday, though.
Yeah, it just happened. Just happened.
It was a good game.
Fellas, don't attack me. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this.
No, I said it was a good game.
Right, but they won, and Kyrie was in attendance. He was there to watch the game, cheer on his mans and them, and then he went to the locker room. The Nets let him go to the locker room, and because of that, they got fined.
Well, I'm about to say, I'm sure they did. He wasn't supposed to be in there. Like, yeah.
Right.
Now, but he can practice with them in the practice facilities.
Make it make sense.
In the practice facilities, they can practice, but in the locker room, he can't go high five and
like, look, yeah, like you how come, yo, like come on, bro.
So my only thinking behind that is him being in the stands, he doesn't have to get tested. I'm guessing when he goes to the practice facilities, he probably has to get tested before he can go in.
He never have an issue. I heard him have no issue. Right,
I'm just saying, maybe he don't have to be tested in the stadium. I'm just saying,
there's nothing so rationalized in this shit. You can't rationalize it.
He's playing games. He has to be tested. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he's playing with them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really
the game the 2 days before.
Yeah.
Like they practice, they play, but
right. But that time in between the practice and the game, like he's in the stands. So he's not getting tested before he's going into that locker room. I'm guessing that's the protocol. He has to be tested before he can go onto the facility.
Hey, Jared, you've been quiet as the Net fan. Talk to me. How you feel about this?
Man, what the fuck do you want me to say about this dumbass shit? So here's the shit that makes absolutely zero sense. Well, no, sorry. On top of everything that doesn't make sense, here's the other part that doesn't make sense, which is he was actually scheduled to play, and then he changed it last second on March 4th he made a slight amendment in his mandate, which basically just ostracized Kyrie on it. Because up until the 4th, when he was set to make his mandate on the 7th, Kyrie was free to play. And then he changed it to covered workers under the private sector. And that was directly affecting, it really just affected him because other people who are covered, the covered worker thing was amended to basically say if your base is your company's in New York, but some other dumb shit. I gotta look at it. I'll send it out. But that part is what messed everything up when he was expected to play after the mandate thing changed. What makes even less sense the fact that before he wasn't allowed to play in the Garden, and now he's allowed to play in the Garden. So make sense.
No one can.
The fact that he's allowed to be unvaccinated in the Barclays with everybody else who was unvaccinated. Actually, let's go back to Billy D for a second. Billy de Blasio, who allowed unvaccinated players to come into New York City and play at either the Garden or Barclays. But yet Kyrie, who spends the same amount of time in the Barclays Center as the rest of them, was not allowed to play. I'm going to actually read the tweet from Woj because this is actually explaining why the Nets were actually fined. Which states, yep, I got it queued up. Kyrie Irving is allowed to enter the arena, but not the workplace environment.
Right.
And the locker room is considered is part of the Nets workplace environment at the Barclays Center.
But the practice facility is
ultimately
at the Barclays
NBA
Center.
find the organization,
Okay.
not Irving. However, as somebody else kindly pointed out, he also practices at the Nets training center, which is a Nets.
But I guess because it's not in the
also
Barclays
a
Center.
workplace environment. And
But
guess
it should
what?
be a
It's
workplace
only
environment.
it's only a 4 train station ride away.
My thing is,
It's still in Brooklyn.
No matter where it is, you're working while you practice, right?
Thank
That's
you.
A workplace. That's
it's
a
the workplace environment.
You can have a company with multiple offices. Like,
so you don't
Yeah,
fire him.
exactly.
I got an office here. I got an office
I'm in the
here.
Harlem office. So if there's a Brooklyn office and a Harlem office, when I'm in the Harlem office, I'm not in the workplace environment.
Right. Because
this is a workplace environment.
So you can practice. So he's free to practice, but he can't.
Son, like
it's my mind hurts. Like my brain hurts.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for Kyrie and respecting his right to do what he wants to do with his body. It's as simple as that. But when you're really just making it difficult and making it so obvious that you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and neither does any of these politicians when it comes to this shit. Like, it's either be one way or another. You can't half-ass around it, and you're making it worse. He literally said to Billy de Blasio, "Hold my beer. I'm going to do something that you ain't never thought of," and then ran with that football, and now he's going to the goal line. This is what he's doing. Like, how do you make an amendment to make it worse?
After he scores, it's gonna be like a 2-point conversion, bro. Why? It's gonna be something even wilder.
So playing devil's advocate. Playing devil's advocate. I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying New York City's in a unique position where we get people coming in from the tri-state area to work. Okay. So we get Connecticut, we get Jersey, we get all these people that come in. If you allow outside non-vaccinated people to work in the workplace, then companies that have people that work in Jersey and they come into New York are going to have to make those amendments for them. Now, if you make it straight and clear, if you're unvaccinated, you can't work in the workplace. That applies to if you're coming in from Jersey, if you're coming in from Connecticut. So me looking at the corporate aspect, if you allow Kyrie as an unvaccinated player to come in and work, then that leaves the door open to everyone who's unvaccinated outside of New York City to come in and pull the same thing. So
people who live in New York City that's also unvaccinated, and that's Eric Adams' standpoint.
Right. They have to be vaccinated to be in the workplace.
This is funny.
But the catch is, at that point, it's not up to Eric Adams, because the NBA is the perfect example of employees coming outside to work in the city because every other team is coming to work in the city. And there are some. I just think
so. If the city has a mandate, how does the NBA? So then, who can come in and break the mandate for the rest of the people? So like they don't have an NBA. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So because I don't see how the NBA can pull rank like that and be like, I just think work in your city, but fuck that, we the NBA.
I just think the NBA should have took the same stance the NFL did: either vaccinated or you don't play.
But they tried that, and the union voted against it.
Yeah, right. But look what happened with the NFL now. There's no mandates across the NFL anymore for going to the new year. They all did it. They got it done. They didn't have any cases throughout, any major cases throughout the NFL season. Mm-hmm. They made their money, kept it moving. And that's how many players have been out for COVID protocol this year in the NBA? Yeah, a lot.
And so I think the union, and we always talk about how weak the NFL union is. Because they tried to fight against it and they lost, but in this situation it kind of benefited them.
It worked in their favor.
It's stronger. They fought against it and said no, and we can't do it. But in this case, the NFL union being weak actually worked to their in their favor.
Their benefit, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to see how baseball handles it going into the new year. Baseball is finally back. Amen to that.
They fumbled last year. I mean,
they fumbled last year hard.
Yo, Jesus Christ! It was like COVID on the baseballs.
Yeah, well, they would catch. You got it. But I love Kyrie's game. We need to see him play the basketball. We need him to play basketball. Like, I feel bad for the Nets fans because it's been what 2.5 years, almost 3 years. You had him, and you haven't even had him a full season. His game is unparalleled to any point guard in the league right now. So it's a crime to not see him on the court. He dropped 50 of the night without even trying.
And it's like so this how I felt about the whole thing. Like Kyrie is probably like it's definitely my favorite guard to watch. Like I'll watch. I'm not a net fan, but if he's playing, I'll watch those games because that's how fucking amazing the nigga is. But when he like, this has made me like him as a person even more. Like his how he's sticking to his guns, how he's not being a slave to the money, how he's not, because he's in a position where he could be like, well, I ain't gonna get paid. Well, shit, I'm fucking rich. Like and a lot of people not in. People are like, damn, I really don't want to do this, but I also have children to feed, and they can't make that decision. But he's sticking to his guns, and the thing is, he's not prioritizing anything over his right to choose what he wants for his body. All these people telling him like, oh, and I don't want to bring this man's name up, but Stephen,
I do,
right? But every time, and the thing is, it hurts me to my core because I'm a Stephen A. fan. A lot of people talk shit about Stephen A. I like Stephen A. But every time he speaks about Kyrie, I get so upset that I turn the channel from ESPN because the reasoning that he has for Kyrie playing is he's like, hey, James Harden and Kevin Durant are in New Jersey. I mean, in Brooklyn. See, there's how fucking the Freudian slip. in Brooklyn, because of you. And now they're and you're not playing. It's like, yeah, they are here because of him. But he also couldn't predict COVID, nigga. Like, fuck is you talking about? Like, did he know COVID was coming? He's like, well, shit, I know. Come on, play, but they're gonna ask me to get vaccinated. I ain't gonna play. But like, who's gonna know that? Like, there's no way for him to know that. So now, because I don't believe in getting vaccinated, I don't want that. But just because I asked these niggas to come play with me, now I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna put the shit in my body just because I said come play with me. What are you talking? Like, I understand how all these people are so like they don't understand that him saying like, nah, above anything, I'm making my right to choose for that is above everything. To me, that's a very easy standpoint to understand, and I don't understand why people having so much trouble. People are like, oh, he's selfish. It's like, nigga, who can be more selfish about you than you? And you're like, who am I supposed to be worrying about?
Fear. That's what it does. Fear. Fear does that. Yeah. Fear makes you do anything to try to be safe about anything. The original thing was Katie's comments. So the shit with Kyrie is the shit with Kyrie. Katie's comments to it, I 100% was behind everything he said. Like, I mean, did he come off like he was about to threaten Adams?
Hey, yo, Eric.
I mean, his comments are right. It's like, and it's funny because it really does. Oh, I think that was one part about the covered worker thing. If you live in New York City and you work in New York City, then you're covered. But if you're an out-of-state resident and you're coming in, then you're not covered. So literally, all Kyrie gotta do is get an apartment in New York, and he covered. Yeah. That's literally all you gotta do. But in terms of Katie's comments, you can tell Katie does follow the political spectrum because it falls in line with him saying this guy just wants attention, and he is getting the attention. It falls in line with everything that Eric Adams has been doing since he got elected. I'm the mayor with swagger. I'm bringing swagger back to New York City. Oh, I'm doing this. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up and just do something that actually makes policy. Like, thank you. But mind you, the police department, other public employees, the bigger sector of New York City, your city employees, you either have to be tested or be vaccinated, and that's still a rule. Yeah, be tested or vaccinated. So your police force doesn't suffer from this shit. The private sector, yeah, granted, people come from all over. I get that. However, is that any less different than people coming in on a regular day from all over the country, all over the world, and they don't have to be vaccinated either? Like and they're probably here as long or even longer than people who aren't unvaccinated. People who come in from other states or cities, whatever, outside of New York City, they're here for a few hours, they get back home. visitors and tourists from other places. Granted, if you're outside the country, then it's a different policy, different rule. But people from Texas who come for the week or so forth, they're here even longer than those people who come for a few hours, stay in the workplace, and go home. Like it's this his rules. Katie's comments are 100% on point.
Like,
I don't have anything wrong with Katie's comments. Maybe he could have came off a little bit different. It could come off like he's shaking the only like he's biting the only hand that can change the rules. Right. But when you have a mayor who literally looks in the camera and says,
away teams have a considered advantage because they could have unvaccinated, they're allowed to play. That doesn't seem right.
Makes no sense. And I don't know who thought of putting such a ridiculous rule in place of away teams can come and play when our teams from New York. But these are the rules, and I have to follow the rules. If I don't, I'm going to open the door that is sending a wrong message to everyday employees.
Absolutely.
Businesses have their vaccine mandates. City employees have their vaccine mandates. I have to follow the rules, and trust me, I want Kyrie on the court.
When you make the rules and you're looking like I don't know how to change the rules, then you're a fucking idiot.
I just wish they look at the science of it. Like how many times have unvaccinated players caused a home team in New York to shut down for COVID? I haven't seen anybody in the Nets go out in COVID protocol. Like I haven't seen anybody in the Nets go out in COVID protocol. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, we did. We caught it hard in November.
Yo,
but that was that was because Harden. That's funny because Kyrie was away from the team at that point, right? Too. But from what I understand, that spell of COVID for the Nets happened because a certain player who's no longer on this team decided to go out partying and then spread his wealth to the team. So.
Lou just said nobody unvaccinated caused an issue. How about?
And that's the thing about it. You're vaccinated and you catch it and you spread it to other teams, other players.
So there's never been anyone who's caught COVID because they were around somebody who's unvaccinated.
Right. That doesn't exist.
No one. That's never happened. It's never happened. Everybody, and I don't know everybody, but I can tell you this is a fact. Everybody, including myself, who's ever caught COVID, they got it because someone near them had COVID. It had nothing to do with whether they're vaccinated or not. It was somebody near them had COVID. So I have the same question now that I've had since this whole vaccine mandate is, who gives a fuck when it's about relation to other people, who cares who's vaccinated? I don't. I care who has COVID. That's who I like. That's who I don't want around me. Like keep the COVID away from me, not keep the unvaccinated away from me. So Eric Adams, how about this? How about you go to your private sector mandate, right? And go, you know what? It doesn't even matter if you guys are vaccinated. I don't care because it doesn't make a difference. What I do care is that y'all niggas not coming to work giving each other COVID. So if you're gonna work indoors in a private sector business in New York City, every week I need to see a negative PCR test.
Right.
Which happens.
Rapid testing before the game, like the chances of someone catching COVID from him on contact during basketball, very, very minimal. Because it's not like they're huffing and puffing in each other's face. Like it's quick movement, quick action.
We need people around each other who don't have COVID.
Kyrie gets tested every day. Mm-hmm. Every time, because he comes to the practice facility. He gets tested every day. And yet, nobody has gotten sick since November.
As I call.
I don't understand. It doesn't, and the part of true that is, I don't understand is, it doesn't make sense. And I would respect Eric Adams more if he says, you know what, like this doesn't make any sense. But I'm just not saying.
No, he did say that, and then proceeded to release these rules.
Yeah. And joke about it because
he goes, I want him to play. I want him to play too.
Right, I was gonna say that him mentioning Kyrie and mentioning that he's a Knicks fan, he's never been a Net fan. Like, don't even say that because it's bigger than just sports.
Shout out to Eric Adams.
It doesn't sound good, bro.
Right, it's not just a sports thing, but now you're focusing on Kyrie and the sports side of it, where this is a mandate for business. and health and lives. It's not just a can Kyrie play or not thing. You know what I'm saying? But you even mentioning, well, I'm not even a net fan. Like, that's irrelevant, sir. Like,
Thank you. That doesn't make a difference, big.
It makes the optics even worse.
Thank you.
It makes the
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
But like, yo, I don't fuck with the Nets right now. I don't give a fuck about nigga playing. I don't know that, man.
You could be a loose and comfortable mayor in better times when there's no life or death things going on in the world. You could be that. You know what I'm saying? Sure. During a championship parade of somebody in the stadium, go ahead and make jokes. If the Nets were to win or whatever, and you say, "Hey, I'm not a fan," like, cool, we're not going. But right now, when we talk about health and lives, we don't need that.
Health.
We don't need that.
This is not even about health anymore. Like,
well,
you made it not
but
about
the
health
topic,
anymore
the
when you
overall
said
topic is, you know,
right.
And it's like to joke around with the rules that are affecting people's health. Because like you said, fear. And when majority of the people are living in fear, I don't want your jokes. Like, Sam, I'm trying to. What are we doing?
Video.
What's going on? Like, I'm scared. Like, you know.
I seen the video where the dude was heckling him, right? When the dude was heckling him.
Yeah, and he was
And
like,
yeah,
he can play tomorrow.
Yes.
Get vaccinated.
But okay,
like
no.
that's the tagline. That's what it's the company line.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Biden said that when the hurricane was about to hit Texas, and he was like, "Y'all want to survive the hurricane? Get vaccinated."
Get vaccinated.
Yeah, because that'll help.
Tagline.
Those miles per hour wings, bro. When
Give me that superpower.
And it feel you got the vaccine through your skin, it's gonna be like, chill.
Yeah,
bro.
I ain't fuck with you.
Leave this man house alone. Leave this man house
They
alone.
vaccinated, so let's go around. Let's go around.
Let's go next door. Destroy
It
that.
doesn't make sense. It won't make sense until, you know, we just get through this. So yeah, in other news of make it make sense, nobody gets it. How does this work? What the fuck's going on?
Why?
So I want to preface it a little differently because I've been seeing a lot of news coverage of it, prefacing it by saying Black Panther director Ryan Coogler. But I want to remind people he also directed Fruitvale Station. So Fruitvale Station director and writer Ryan Coogler was in Atlanta filming Black Panther 2, obviously, and went to the bank to make a withdrawal. Now, you know, this is where people get a little like, oh, he wrote a note on the slip telling the bank teller that, you know, I want to withdraw $12,000 from my account, but I want to keep it, you know, keep it incognito. So just please count the money on the side. You know, he wrote that, made it clear. When I first heard the story and see where it went to, I thought maybe the bank teller didn't read the note. Maybe she just saw a note and just wilded out. But then we find out, no, she read the note. Not only did she read the note, she proceeded to process the withdrawal from his account. He swipes his card, puts his information in, and she's continuing the process. Everything's all good. Yeah, don't worry about it, Mr. Coogler. We got you. And then an alert comes up on the account. Oh, it's over $10,000. Please get manager. So she goes to get the manager. He's like, is everything all right? She's like, yeah, no, don't worry about it, Mr. Coogler. We're going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. She goes to get the manager. The manager's informed. Yeah, he want to take out this, whatever's on the note. He's being informed of that. Cool. Manager comes over. Ryan again asks, everything all right? Like, yeah, no, we good, Mr. Coogler. So he's waiting to get this handled. And as he's waiting,
hey, sir. Hey, man. Do me a favor, man. Come this way.
Whoa,
Put your hand behind your back.
Change down my back. Okay, got it. You got it. Is there any reason y'all doing this, bro?
Give me 1 second. Hold on. Is that him with the green sweater?
No, sir. Hey,
204, what never say?
Fellas, I really should do it. I mean,
What's going on, my man?
trying to put money on my own.
You said what? Yeah, this your phone?
It is, sir.
they're in fear of being robbed. The bank is being robbed from a gentleman who...
From a guy who swiped his card.
Swiped the card from him, made a withdrawal from his account, had his ID on him, clipped, visible.
I'm gonna steal my money from y'all.
I'm gonna steal my money, right? So, before we go in on the situation, you know, luckily we got someone here. We've all worked in retail, we've all worked in customer service stuff, but we specifically got someone that works at a bank, not just works at a bank, is a manager at a bank. So we got some experience here. We can really get somebody to talk to it. You know what I'm saying?
I used to be a teller at a bank.
Oh, see, so we got some experience here. You know,
not talking about you, that fan show.
So Lewis, obviously you don't work at, and it was Bank of America, by the way, so we're gonna put that out there. Bank of America is where this situation happened at. So anybody that bank there, you know, I'll leave it to you to figure out what you want to do with it. But Lewis, you do not work at Bank of America. However, these situations are still very similar. It's still the same field, industry. Y'all got the buttons and things for situations. Y'all got protocols and reasoning. So from what I've been hearing, and even if you've seen the video, the police was saying, you know, the fault of his was the note. So Lewis, I want to ask you, do you guys discuss notes being passed to the tellers and things like that? You know, is that something y'all discuss?
I mean, you discussed that, right? Safety and security. Someone passes you a note, you know, telling you put all the money in the bag. You know, you do as told. You do as told. You know, you don't fuck around. You just give them what they ask for and let them go on their merry way. At that point, then you hit the panic button, and you know, my job is to make sure everyone in that bank is safe. My job is not to detain anybody beyond any kind of merit, not to delay in issuing funds. Like, if my tellers know, you know, you can slip the note, do what you asked, let that person go on their merry way.
Now,
your job is
to
to
further,
get them out.
Do you tell them to read the note? No. Are they to read the note and then know where to go from there? Like, if the note doesn't say,
oh yeah, you know, you
put everything in the bag.
You know,
you don't put everything in the bag.
Right.
You just read the note first and say, hey,
read the note first.
It's not a robbery, or you know,
right? You gotta judge the assess. Now,
somebody might write a note that says "Have a nice day."
Right. At the same token, what Rel said, ain't nobody robbing ever in the history of banks put their own goddamn debit card in the goddamn machine. Ain't nobody. I don't care how stupid you are. You ain't putting your own debit card in. I don't want to go too far down the line, but yeah, that basic is read the note, do as they say, move on. After they leave, hit the panic, do what you got to do, pull cameras, do all that, but assess the situation first. Not once in my banking career have I ever heard of a teller get a note, go to the back, get on the phone, call 911, get the manager involved, read the note to the 911 operator and say, I think so. I don't know. Like, that shit never happens. I told you I was hot when I read this. I was hot when I read it. I got more pissed off as I saw it happen from the body cams of the officers.
You have ID on you? I got everything on me. Where? But the thing I'm trying to explain to you right now, sir, you know, listen to me. I'm listening. If you come on my right side, I got a badge on hanging off my hip, my work badge. And it'll tell you everything about me. And if you just run my name, you'll understand why you should take me off these cuffs. You can not do it.
This is your name?
It's gonna be really bad for you. Yes,
okay.
That's my name.
So Ryan Coogler, okay.
Cooks, Coogler. Just put it in Google. I'm really trying to keep it from being a bad day on your job, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Black man to black man, bro. Hey, bro. My supervisor's gonna go out there.
Just hang tight right there. I'm gonna talk to you first.
Just one shake, bro.
Say what?
Just one shake. Somebody take my glasses off my face. I'm finna have a panic attack, bro.
I got you. You need some air?
I mean, I gotta be honest with you, man. I just can't believe this, man. Is that my family's baby nurse? Did y'all have her detained right now?
Who? Sit here.
The baby nurse, the Filipino woman that was in the back seat. Did y'all have her detained right now?
Yes, she's being detained at this point. All right. Can you, did the officers explain what's going on while we're out here?
Not really, man.
All right, so we got a call based.
I heard somebody ask me if I passed a note.
Yeah.
This might have been one of these dudes with.
So basically, we got a call, and from what we got the call, it seemed like someone was trying to rob the bank. something about you passing a note to a teller, something to that effect. Can you just tell me what's going on? Or?
Yeah, bro. It's a medical assistant that works in my house that prefers to be paid in cash. Every time I make a withdrawal to pay her, you know, because it's a large amount, she works a lot.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't write down on a note how much I want out, and then I don't want it ran through the money counter right there at the desk, the whole bank ends up looking at me because they just hearing money going through the account, and I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe getting money out like that. So every time I go to withdraw it, you know, I put the amount, the account I want it taken out of, and I put my own card in, and then they usually take me out like always just get the money from me. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I don't understand.
So
you
make well. That's like I said. That's the reason why we're out here, and that's the reason why we detained everybody because we didn't know exactly what was going on. So you make.
But I was trying. But I mean, I gotta be honest with you, man. Y'all never asked me what's going on.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we in those situations.
Y'all weapons down on me. You know what I'm saying?
Where's your ID? In this pocket?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
And my team shit and my baby nurse is getting thrown in the back of the car, bro, handcuffed. You know what I'm saying? It's a problem. I need everybody's name.
They're writing all your.
I need everybody's name. You know what I'm saying? And I need to find out who made that call in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what
It came from the bank.
Yeah.
I need
to find out who made the
That's
call.
fine. That's fine. You have all right to do so.
Yeah, I got.
But I just want you to understand what my sergeant advised you on the nature of the call. That's all I need you to understand.
Have you ever considered speaking to them before you make a transaction like that? Have you ever had something like this happen?
Have I ever been arrested?
No.
Wait, what?
Listen to what he's saying.
Have you ever?
No, I am listening.
Okay. Have you ever considered speaking to them about what it is you're trying to do prior to doing?
So can I explain something to you, bro? I went to CVS out here the other day to get a vaccine. I came outside and somebody was smoking in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? I was getting a vaccine.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fuck around out here, bro. Like, I'm not saying out loud how much money I'm taking up. That's why I'm writing it down.
I'm not talking about speaking to somebody like that. I'm saying, hey, can I speak to a manager in an office somewhere? Have you ever considered doing something like that?
I'm gonna consider it now that y'all fucking drew guns on me. I was trying to take money out. But up to this point, at every Bank of America I ever gone to in my entire fucking life, just never happened.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
So y'all explaining y'all perspective, right? Yeah. Y'all the ones with guns and vests. You know what I'm saying? What's my perspective? What's my perspective?
I know
at the bank, she never said it was a fucking problem, bro. Yeah. I said, hey, is that gonna be okay with you? She said, yeah. I put my own card in, put my own pin in. She asked to see my ID. I gave it to her. Yeah. And she goes in the back, and I'm waiting for the and then the people keep coming out, hey, they taking care of you, everything's just taking a little while. Next thing I hear fucking Glocks. Yeah. I hear Glocks getting pulled out. That's what I hear.
You're a Glock.
I hear Glocks getting pulled out from unholstering. Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? You understand what I'm saying? So you see my perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean,
how many officers you got on there?
It's not, man.
Shout out to the officers. They did everything the way they were supposed to handle that situation.
Yeah, I don't got no beef with them. Like,
no beef with the cops there.
Yeah.
A plus for the Atlanta PD for handling the situation because they de-escalated the situation. No one was hurt. It was cool, calm, collected. So shout outs to them.
Yeah.
Now get to the bank. Bank of America. BOA. You got a fat F for this. All right. Because your team was not trained properly. I get customers all the time that come in to do large cash withdrawals. And some of them call. Some of them just come in and like, hey, this is what I need. Can you get it from this account? And they want it done discreetly. One, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's in the branch. Like you don't know your situation. Shout outs to Ryan though, because he went there alone. Not many people go to withdraw, especially the person who he is and his caliber. Go there do it by their damn self.
To take 12 bands out, totally. Like.
Right. So where the teller messed up at is he swiped his own debit card. No more robbing your banks and swipe your own debit card to get in. That was poor judgment on her part. Second part is the manager was nowhere to be involved. Like not once during the 911 call, during the police body cam, you see the manager anywhere in the picture. Me, I'm sorry. If my team comes to me, messages me, hey, SOS or whatever. You get on there and help out. Ryan Coogler did nothing wrong. He passed the note, say, hey, this is what I want. Just please do it discreetly. Ain't no bank robber gonna tell you to do anything to their account discreetly. And stay there.
He's in my account now.
He didn't look agitated. He didn't look impatient. You know, he wasn't fidgeting. Like all the telltale signs that someone's robbing you weren't there at all. I said this in our group chat. He got that treatment because he was black. End of the day, end of story.
She was black too. That's the worst part.
End of story. Some people said, I read some of the comments said, oh, because he wore a mask and sunglasses. Listen, since 2020, everybody in Atlanta comes into the branch with sunglasses and mask on.
Right.
Yeah, like he shouldn't have had now we shouldn't have masks.
Right. Like I wear transition sunglasses. I go into my branch, you can't see who I am. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of folks there, it left a bad taste in my mouth because shout out to Ryan because he handled it properly. He said, hey, listen, I'm gonna cooperate. Let's go outside. Pull my credentials. Just Google me, bitch. Is basically what he told his officers. Just Google me.
How about I swipe my card?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He swiped his card.
Anything. What does it say?
Right.
Look at the screen. What does it say?
I mean, none of the
like I have ID.
None of the protocols were followed.
What is this? After I swipe my card, what is your system saying?
Right. He gave his name. He gave the note. He had to have, because of the amount he was taking out. Yes, he had to perform. He had to present ID. So they had all that. No bank robber in the history of the world is going to rob a bank and give you their ID.
Imagine that. Imagine you would have robbed the bank, got away, and then he'd be like, "Yo, I don't know what you're talking about. I was never in that bank."
Right.
It's like, really? So we have your ID and swipe the card.
For me,
you know what?
They picked the wrong person, and what I think even hindsight even more. How many times does this happen to people who aren't Ryan? You know what I'm saying? Like who have those type of funds, but because they're black, they're Spanish, they shouldn't be withdrawing that amount of money. Like, who are you to tell me what I'm entitled to withdraw? You know, especially if I want to do it discreetly. Like, I have a family. I have I have obligations. Like, you don't know who's following me into the branch. You don't know if the person right next to me is someone shiesty and they hear, oh, you got $12,000 going to that cash machine?
They see me leave and I try to book.
Right, I'm gonna follow you home. Like, come on. So for me, fat F, I'm Bank of America. Like, I'm surprised there hasn't been an apology yet to him.
Well,
I think
it wasn't public.
The
said they
manager did like
spoke
one of them written statement joints. That was
because he said he made a statement saying that he spoke with them, whatever, and he's moving on. He's cool. He's cool with what going on or whatever.
But I mean, all around that could have been much worse. Especially if you had a cop that had an itchy finger. Because at first I got a little worried because that second cop behind him pulled his gun out. I'm like, all right, well, this is gonna escalate really, really quick. And shout out to them that he didn't. He holstered it back. He put the cuffs on him, and they took it outside. So I was worried that it was going to be a gun to his head, and he gets escorted out that way, which would have been bad.
And it was bad to even. I mean, obviously you want to get away from the people in the bank and all that stuff, but it's like, now it's outside, it's in the public and stuff too. So that there was no wins. Like we said, for the officers, there's no wins in that situation. Their job is to take it away from. Within inside the bank, and then, but then they also handcuffed. He had two more people in the car, and one was I think his child's nanny, and so it was like, okay, these people are handcuffed. They confused too, like
nurse.
Yeah, and they're confused, like why are we being like, what just happened? Like, what's going on?
That was the getaway driver,
right?
That was the getaway.
Right. So
first off, his name was Ryan Coogler. And not Coogler.
Right, when the officer looked at the ID and looked them up, and they were like, Ryan Coogler? Who are you, sir? Like,
the stuff I have for the officer is he had to write his name down. Like, come on, you know who he is? Like,
they don't know.
Any middle-aged man should know who he is. I'm shocked by that.
I mean, I could understand somebody not know who he is. I could understand that.
I mean, I'm a little shocked that they don't know, but. Nobody knew. The bank people didn't know. The officers didn't know. Like, I was a little shocked that nobody was like
nobody.
It's kind of great. that 0 people knew.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Like if you do like a
To me, it's funny
consensus of
that
10 people, 0 knows who he is. Like,
to me, it's funny that you mentioned Fruitville Station director.
It's not funny. They did it on purpose.
And then the cops don't know who he is.
Right.
You know?
And that's why I prefaced it with that, because again, when they had him cuffed in the car and stuff, when he turned around and saw them, he was confused. Like you could see he was hyperventilating, breathing, like you know what I'm saying? Because obviously, one, you know,
I never seen a bank robber detained before by a bank. Like, what the fuck?
You know what I'm saying? But as a black man, you know what I'm saying, the initial reaction is I see officers with guns. We've been dealing with that for the last couple of years. And then like you said, like being the director of that movie, it's like, do they know that is this their opportunity to get at me? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just so many thoughts that might be, you know, I'm not speaking for him, but might have been going through his head. But initially it's just literally forget his celebrity and fame. I am a black man. And these officers is ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And I don't, and at this point, I don't know why. Because she told me we all good. The manager or whatever came and went and said, we all good. Like that, it's business as usual. And he told the officers, I've done this before. Like, yes, I've done this multiple times and it's never been a problem. And it's like, well, now I'm gonna do it a little differently because y'all came through, you know, with the Glocks ready to go. So now I'm gonna probably change my process up. But I've been doing it a couple times this way and it's never been an issue. But just like, I can't imagine, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had like a gun or something that was drawn on you, officers that, you know what I'm saying, we go through and it's like, fam, even in our innocence, you just like, we panic. You know what I'm saying?
Even at a traffic stop. Even at a traffic stop.
Yeah.
You panic. You're like nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
when we see the red and blue lights,
scary
it's
world.
Guns.
Yeah. It's just a scary world we live in where you can't go take out money at your own bank and put your own identification in. Like your debit card, your debit card lets you into the, like, that's your golden fucking ticket. Like you put that in, you put your PIN in, the actual ID. All right, it matches. Like, I didn't see anything wrong with what he did. Like, I see a day in and day out, customers just slip you a deposit slip. They give me a little paper with their breakdown. Hi, good morning. How you doing? Keep it moving.
That's the thing. He
like
did do one thing wrong. He wrote in the area where it says, "Do not write in this area."
Yeah, you know that's why he got the guns drawn on him.
You know how them bank robbers, they don't follow directions, baby.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. These criminals be. He's a criminal off that.
You know that was one thing he did, but that was the one issue I did have with the officer though. The lead officer was trying to get him. Do you understand her point of view?
Yeah,
and he's like,
you shouldn't have to.
I'm the one.
But I'd be like, nah. She thinks I'm robbing you guys with my bank information.
Right. With my big America card.
Right.
I don't. And she's
like, I have sons.
Then she started saying she's protecting her child from the withdrawal bank robber from his account as a threat to your child.
Like, I have sons, you know, we all have nieces and nephews and stuff. I can show my sons that video, and the first thing out of their mouth is gonna be, "What the hell did he do wrong?
Why did he do it right? Yeah, what did he do wrong?
What did he do wrong?" And my answer is gonna be nothing. Nothing. That's the proof right there. That
he chose the wrong branch.
Right.
But
he was just the wrong color.
I think he's done business in that branch before. If not, he's done it at other branches. But you know, the only thing I can add to that I don't think anybody mentioned was that was one of his gripes too. Was he wanted to be discreet about it because he doesn't want people to hear that money machine counting out all that money. He doesn't want to be robbed. He doesn't want to be hassled. That's why even more he has glasses. Even if he may not be, you know, A-list celebrity famous like that, there's a chance that somebody is going to recognize him. Hell, he's the only dude in Atlanta.
And he's in Atlanta, like
with a hard Oakland accent. He's probably going to get recognized.
You definitely not from around here, shouted.
You know, like people are always going to confuse him for either one or two people. Too short to E40, and he ain't none of them. So, like, you know, it's
Marshawn Lynch. Don't forget Marshawn Lynch.
And Marshawn. but but he doesn't have hair. Marshawn does.
You're right.
But it's sad that if you just read the note, because I really think she did not read the note. I think if you just read the note, and then you line it up with the fact that he swiped his card, and you see all that information, because he probably put his PIN number and everything in it.
And that's what I'm saying. She had to read the note because she knew
you have to have ID.
She had to read the note.
I have a question.
Did you hear the 911 call?
Nah.
Oh no.
The 911 audio is out there. The 911 audio from her is out there.
Oh, so I thought she hit the button. I didn't know she called. I didn't know she called.
No, she called. She was on the phone with 911.
And so I just told my manager I didn't feel comfortable. So he told me to call police while he, I guess, stalled for
What is on the note, ma'am?
It just says I want to withdraw $12,000. Just be discreet.
Is this an actual customer, or are they trying to rob the bank?
They had a debit card, and he inserted it. He gave me a California ID, but I was like, okay, how do you want the cash back? And he's like, just look at the note.
And he had no weapons, correct?
Not that I know of. He just has on black sunshades and a black hat.
Is he a black male, white male?
He's a black male. And every time I ask him like a question, he's like, look at the note.
So, okay.
But he inserted his debit card, and then I asked for his ID. He handed me his ID as a California ID. But I didn't look at his name because I'm just like so
You did not look at his
like,
name.
I don't know what he's trying to do. So I just told him, give me one moment. I have to get my manager.
Okay, so none of his information was even verified. Okay. He might just want to be discreet, but I have police en route.
Yeah, I mean, he might. It just seemed weird.
So that's why I was burning.
So look.
Send
now,
that.
I guess by rule.
I gotta cut this in here. I gotta put that in.
I guess by rule, right? And I don't know because I've never been a 911 dispatcher or whatever. I guess by rule they can't be like, miss, this nigga not. So I'm not sending nobody there because you're fucking wild. I guess by rule they can't do that.
But even the operator was like, well, he may want to be discreet.
Right,
I just want to be
discreet.
Yeah.
That literally throws away everything that needs to be said.
Yeah. I didn't know she called. Crazy. I thought she hit the button.
Oh, she called.
She did it on the low.
That makes it worse.
So she
sounds like an idiot too. He put his debit card in and he gave me his ID, but I didn't look him up.
That also tells me she never went to her manager.
No.
That's what that tells me. It tells me she never went to the manager.
Any manager with a brain would have been like, well, did his ID match or what is his name? Or does it? She'd be like, well, I didn't look at it. Then he'd be like, the manager be like, how the fuck do you look at his name?
Right.
How did you not match his ID to his name on his account?
To even take it a step further, if you think you're being robbed, at no point are you supposed to walk away from your station to go do something else because what's going to happen afterwards?
Right.
You don't let off.
Because he thinks he's about to go do something. He was about to go like, yo.
Do you think he wants to go to the back?
Like, sir, I understand. I got to pee though, so give me a second. So like, nah, you can't go nowhere.
And that's why he was standing there thinking, because she came back and said, nah, we good. I just got to go check something. So he thinking, I had no doubt. She back there calling the police.
To me, you know what? Fuck retraining. Fire has.
She needs to go. She needs to go. Honestly, in my opinion,
there is no retraining. Like be a cashier at the fucking Piggly Wiggly for all I give a fuck about. Like you get out of here with that shit. Like you ain't check his ID. You know what? Don't even do that because if she has if she has to cash a check at customer service, she gonna mess that up too.
Yeah. See, I was under the assumption you guys heard the audio.
Nah. That's even wilder. Bro.
Yeah, I didn't.
That's wild. She's get her ass out of here.
I didn't even know that. I thought she pressed the button. I didn't even know there was audio. I didn't even know about that.
Spoke to the cops and basically said, the nigga really ain't do nothing, but I'm uncomfortable.
Right. Now he mad calm. Like he gave me his ID and
I ain't
everything.
chilling, B. I told him the way he said I ain't. Like he chilling.
But it's a
like,
California
right
ID, so it could be
He didn't
fake.
get loud. He wasn't agitated. He wasn't aggressive.
The nigga told her it's a California ID. He said that for a reason. Cause when niggas be scamming and fraud, they have an out of state ID. So he want to warn her, like, look, like when you see my shit, it's gonna say California.
And he logged into the account though.
Here's the funny thing about it. The freaking dispatcher was like the damn bank manager. So did you check the ID?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Maybe he wants to be discreet.
Maybe he wants to be discreet, but
I guess I'm gonna send somebody, but
because I guess he had to. Imagine she didn't, right? And then Ryan did just start wilding. Then it'd be like she called the cops, and the chick was like, "Nah, they're not gonna send the cops." So like,
right.
She can't not send them.
Right. But like you said, the dispatcher did their job. The dispatcher did their job.
Yeah.
You have to. You can't be like, nah, this judgment call. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
You gotta just send them out there. Like you gotta do that. I'm not mad at the dispatcher.
This actually lines up with. It actually explains why the officers didn't come in there guns blazing or guns out, focused on them. Because even I guess from how dispatch explained it was like this might not be a legit,
I'm
thing.
Sure, the dispatcher.
Well, no, they don't tell them. Yeah, because when they send them, they don't tell them to not go. They have a. That's how they go in. They were ready for that. He didn't have a weapon, so they didn't need to. But they had it out.
They ain't coming drawn like saying police.
Yeah, no.
Like, they ain't coming saying police. But
in that situation, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. If they were aware that he was armed, then they wouldn't even come in.
Yeah. Right.
They would have to set up the perimeter first and do all that stuff we see in the movies and but make sure they don't get nobody gets harmed. But they knew that they could walk in there, but they had their weapons ready to go.
Alarm.
They had their weapons ready to go.
Alarm. This shit would have went left way early.
Possibly.
Yeah, she had the silent alarm. Yeah, because like they would have thought something was really going down.
Right.
If she had the silent alarm.
So Lou, you gonna use this as a training tool for your staff going forward?
Listen, I hired 98% of my staff. They fucking know better. my staff know better. Don't ever do some dumb shit like that. Like, you ain't gonna have me on here on World Star looking fool. Fuck out here.
It's crazy because even when I worked at Best Buy and we was doing the credit card applications, I had better. Yeah. I was better informed than this lady was. Like I knew to look at ID and get information. Like I didn't even do to be in that depth, but I knew to look at ID. And it's like if somebody's doing like for her to do that,
man. But she lucky Ryan's cooler because me, I would have been like, all right, we good. All right, I'm about to go spaz the fuck off on her right now. So
I want to know if he heard that call because he. I mean, so we saw in the video.
It's out there.
He took the officers' names down.
He might have, yeah.
He wanted to get. So I don't know if he might have heard that call yet. But if he does follow up on this situation,
listen.
He might.
If I'm Ryan, I'm King Petty, and I want to be Bank of America's marketing specialist. I'll be on all the fucking billboards everywhere in that branch. She walk in every day, she see my face. I'm marketing.
Yeah, because that's wild. Like, so yeah, that's crazy. And like we said, it's in Atlanta. I mean, race aside, but like she had no idea who it was, and of course she had no idea who it was because she ain't look at the ID. She didn't look at the name on the account or nothing. She let him log into the account, but she just ignored that completely. So she did look at the note though. She knew how much he was taking out because again, they said. The computer knew that it was going over 10,000, so it set up the the notification, or she might have just said that. Who knows? She might have just said that to say, oh, excuse me, I got to go talk to the manager. 911. Yeah. Listen, this. I don't know if Ryan's gonna pursue anything further. He said he wasn't, but I don't know if you heard that.
He's not from right here.
He don't look like the type. Yeah. So like. He handled it calm. He handled it collectively. Like the officers explained it to him well. Man, a big F you to Bank of America.
Like I said, my only issue with the officer was just that whole trying to get him to see her point of view, and I'm like, yo, her point of view is irrelevant. I'm out here.
Well, that's the officer trying to just de-escalate it. like to end it. Like you see where she's coming from, right?
Y'all wasn't aiming at her. Y'all was aiming at me. Y'all came and got me. That's her point of view. She behind some glass. Like she walked away. She was going. She could have dipped. Like her point of view is, I'll be right back. Psych. Like she could have been gone for all I know. So that's her point of view. I don't care about her perspective. My perspective is I was in cuffs. You got my peoples in cuffs. Y'all had the guns ready to go. Do you understand my perspective? Like, I'm the one here who's the victim. Like, I am not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? And that was my only issue with the cop. Like, the cop was on some trying to make it a teachable moment for him. You know, and it was just like, let's go talk to her now. let's go tell her about how she wasted your time, officer. Let's go back in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be teaching them lessons, let's go talk to her. You know what I'm saying? And that was my only issue with it. Like I was just, you know, with the cops. Other than that, they did what you would expect of them to do. They made sure nobody got harmed in the situation. You know what I'm saying? And it was just when I first saw it, I felt the way, but now with the audio and all that, I'm really like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yep.
Does anybody bank with Bank of America?
I do.
Yeah, go continue banking with Bank of America?
I would never go to that branch.
Y'all can, y'all just don't walk into a branch, you know what I'm saying?
I would never go to that branch.
I rarely walk in the branch anyway. And I ain't withdrawing $12,000.
As I'm saying, I ain't got a large amount to withdraw.
Listen, 200, 300 in my pocket, I get nervous. Like I feel them. Like I said, hey,
it just made she had no foundation to even be nervous. Like, and she didn't even get the information. Like, read the note. Let the note say I'm robbing it, but get nervous then. Like, like, and even then, be nervous because it's normal, it's natural. But I'm sure Lewis could back this up. As a bank employee, you have to be trained in the event that you're being robbed. Like, they wouldn't have you in there you got to guess what to do when somebody says, give me the, like, I'm sure there's training on that. Like, it has to be. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely. It just puts a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I read the article and as I went through it, my head was just like, that's wrong. Like, this doesn't add up. It makes no sense. Like, that's not protocol. And then I heard the audio and I was like, she's way wrong. That's not how you handle it. And then now you just sent me the video from the police point of view. I'm like, yeah, he got railroaded. Like, she literally had his life in her hands.
That's all it takes.
And that's the part that gets brushed under it. Like, he's forgave her and stuff like that. But again, had it been a cop, trigger happy, who maybe had a bad experience with a bank robbery, fidgety, hairline trigger,
right?
Ryan could have turned around and it could have been pop, 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 to his chest. So that's the part that bothers me the most, that she was so nonchalant with this situation, because at the end of the day, you're putting your fellow employees at risk, you're putting customers at risk, you're putting yourself at risk for something to happen because you just nonchalantly were like, I think he's robbing me. Like, you can't have a Barbie mentality when doing something like this. Like, you got a bunch of people's lives in your hand, and to be like, oops, I didn't do my job to the full extent because I didn't want to.
The slightest thing could have been, she said, oh, the ID says Ryan Coogler, but I don't think that's him. Right. She could have thought, oh, it's a fake ID. He's pretending to be the same as that. You would have gave her the benefit then of
okay. But could you imagine if he spooked easily? Like, if he got scared and that phone went
right,
and the cop behind him just heard a
right.
boom. Like, it could have been open, and then he has no clue what's going on.
He's thinking it's
none.
They getting the money. They taking care of me.
Right.
Business as usual.
Even if she didn't look at ID and said her name and would have said that, what the fuck did it say on that goddamn screen though?
And that's what I'm saying. If she did her job, we wouldn't come down on her so hard. You know what I'm saying? Because if she didn't look at it and saw the account, and then she'd have been like, yo, I think it's not him. It might be a fraudulent. Instead of saying bank robber, maybe it's a fake somebody stole his ID or something like that. Then we be like,
in that instance, then all she would need to do is involve a manager. She wouldn't involve the cops.
Exactly.
So if she wasn't sure about who he was, then you go get your manager. Like the police don't know who he is. How they know?
Right. She was just completely wrong. Like she's wrong. And I don't
there's no saving her, not after the audio.
I don't care about her point of view. She was wrong. She's completely wrong.
You've seen so many Karen videos of what Lou said. One phone call, you put somebody's life in your hands.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is make that one phone call. Cops come ready to go because all because it takes one phone call that fucks somebody else up. No,
but ladies and gentlemen, listening and watching, tell us what y'all think. Give us y'all point of view on this. You know what I'm saying? You know, you seen the video, you heard the audio, seen the note. Like, let us know if you see another side of this, because it's cut and dry.
Maybe we missed it.
Right, like what is?
Maybe there's a case where somebody stole their own money from a bank, and we
like
laughing
you
it
rob
off.
yourself.
And maybe
give me my money.
And then maybe it was like it's those banks that like try to keep you like financially smart. So like somebody came in and like want to get $12,000. They was like, yo, but you're like $50,000 in debt. You can't take this. Like, think about your family. And they was like, what? And pulled their gun out and then demanded them give them their own money. Maybe something like that happened and we have no idea.
Trust me, listen, I ain't no movie director, but I'm guessing Ryan has a little more than 12K in his account.
You know, there's a couple of commas in that account.
Like, your common sense is like, all right, there's 100 million, like 100,000, and you only want 12.
I'm sure you see the total balance. So
if she looked at any of that, like
nothing was like that, man.
Was like, nah, he's writing notes, big. We out of here.
You know what?
We out of here.
Robbing himself, the Ozarks. The Ozarks. You ever watch the Ozarks? Like how Jason Bateman's character, he took out I forget how much it was, like damn near $1 million he took out from his own thing. And you know, and they had the feds come and so forth to that. Like that's then what he did. She tried to say that he was robbing himself, so she was saving him from himself.
I guess. I guess. Like I said, there's no way around it. It's just weird. Like I said, hey, like you said, she pulled a Karen move. It just goes to show you Karen ain't just white women. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we look at ourselves and judge and get nervous and get scared. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just say it's always just white people. Sometimes we judge our own folks, and this is a perfect case of that. You know what I'm saying? In Atlanta.
Yep.
And we're you know, Atlanta's the new Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? This is like they filming everything down there now. But again, to know that, you really had to know who you talking to, and she really had no idea who was. Didn't even look at the ID or nothing. So all that is irrelevant anyway, because you got to at least be aware of who you're talking to even
who
be
the fuck you talking to,
aware of a celebrity or not. So it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Even when they log into the account, I'm not gonna ignore that. You know, they give you ID, I'm gonna ignore that. But comment below, let us know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back with some more conversations and things. Like I said, shout out to everybody listening, shout out to everybody watching, everybody subscribe, everybody comment. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you all the time. And we'll be back with some more, all right? Later.